Kathy Helbig. How are you, Kathy?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for
Excellent.
joining us this morning.
Absolutely.
So tell me, what is new right now? Everything keeps changing. You know, everything
Keeps changing, but yet it's the same.
Well, I'd say here's what's the same.
No,
we
it's
need
not.
houses, and we need to sell houses, and we need to sell them at the highest price and as quickly as possible. And we need to buy them at the best price and get what we deserve. So how do we do that?
I got some good news for that.
All
sort
right.
of. I'm looking at all the statistics right now on what's happening with the market, and actually it's starting to almost be, I won't call it a perfect storm because it's not perfect with interest rates where they are, but it's starting to be a nice little tropical storm in real estate, I will say. It's
Tropical
not the
depression.
hurricane. Yeah, because honestly, we're seeing more and more inventory come on. I just did an inventory check this morning, and we're definitely have this week more inventory than what we were seeing come on each week in the spring. Mm-hmm. And this is normally the slow time in real estate. So typically people sold in March through June or July, then they're closing in August, and they don't really come on the market in August and September as much. But we're seeing a lot of inventory come on. And the reason for that, I think, is because a lot of those people were stuck. They wanted to sell, but they couldn't sell because they didn't really know where they could go.
Couldn't buy.
So now we're starting to see some of that inventory free up because now builders are, not quite as crazy long lines as they were before. We're also seeing options for buyers. So some of these sellers are now feeling a little bit like, okay, I can find something. Let's go ahead and get our house going. And honestly, for sellers, you're not in the same position necessarily as you were 3 or 4 months ago. You are 100% in the driver's seat, but it's still, the good news for sellers is it's still a great market for sellers. You still have built a ton of equity up in your house over the last 2 years while you were sitting here on the fence. So just because you may not be in a position where you can negotiate $100,000 over your asking price, and again, there's a few houses out there that are still getting some multiple offers, so don't get me wrong. But if you're in a situation where you don't have multiple offers, you're still getting good offers, list price, close to list price, and you have that 2-year equity bank in there. So don't get confused. And don't think you're losing and you waited and it was too late. It is still great for sellers. On the flip side, it's getting better for buyers. Inventory-wise, negotiation-wise. Is it great for buyers for the interest rate right now? Not as great as it was, but it's still not terrible. And there's options for you out there now that you can negotiate. If you're a buyer that is thinking, gosh, my payments, I just can't really, I don't want to swing it right now, and rates are in the upper 6s or mid 6s or wherever they end up being when you lock in, negotiate. Seller pays some closing costs. Maybe negotiate that seller does a buy down for you on your interest rate. That gives you some time to pay a lower mortgage while the rates have time to stabilize. And we're going to have, according to the economists, we're going to see rates go back down. They're going to go up and down a little bit, but there's definitely going to be refi opportunities. So I would say don't let that hold you back as a buyer. There's definitely more inventory out there right now. You've got your negotiating power back. You can put some of your inspections back in, your contingencies back in, and then what the heck, ask the seller to pay some of your costs and fees that are maybe holding you back.
Yeah, and if you have someone who knows what they're doing, like you,
that's right.
A lot of that is capable of being done.
It's critical, honestly, in this market. And we're already seeing a lot of realtors start to flush out that were in this for the heyday, that was in it for, if you had a seller, it was pretty easy to sell the house. And we're going to start seeing less and less realtors available because the amount of business is going to dry up for that type of person, because you've got to have somebody that is excellent in this type of market and know how to advise people and know how to get houses sold.
Right. I think that's the key, what you just said there. People come to me because when they say I want to buy a business, I want to sell a business, I want to do something, I'm supposed to be able to recognize issue spotting, and help them through and make recommendations. Some of the things that you were just talking about, I would not have known were on the table but for what you said here. And having someone like you who says, listen, not to worry, we're going to get a couple hundred here, a couple thousand there, a couple days or weeks here. I wouldn't have known to do that.
Right. And everything is not permanent right now. Think about that. Buyers, you can get into the market, get into your house, and then let's figure out how to get your rate down and your payment down when the opportunity presents itself.
So they say no stupid questions. This may be a stupid
Absolutely
question,
not.
Kathy Helbig, but what about new homes build? Are realtors ever involved in that? If I'm out there looking for a new home and I want it to be built.
Let me scream it from the from the rooftop. Yes, because, here's the thing, but here's the tricky part about that. If you mosey into a builder's development and you sign in, and they're going to have you sign in because they make you register, they can cut your realtor representation out, even though you may have a realtor, maybe though your intentions are to use a realtor. But a lot of the builders have a specific policy that says if the agent either A, wasn't present with you, or B, lower, a situation is maybe they introduced you to the property, so you came on your own. Mm-hmm. But when you sign in, you say, yes, I have a realtor. They introduced me to the property. If you do not do that, that's a placeholder for you to be able to use a realtor. If you don't do that, there is a percentage of realtors out there, and it's a pretty good percent, that will say, sorry, Charlie, you don't get to, we're not going to cooperate with your realtor. Now, can you still use a realtor? It's your right to use a realtor. It might be out of your pocket.
Right.
In this case, it is not out of pocket. Does everybody hear that? In 99% of cases, there are some one-off builders and small builders that may not apply. But in 99% of the cases, that commission is built into the base price of your home, period. Those builders do projections and budgets going back over the last year or two. They look at what was the percentage of times that there was a realtor involved and not involved, so they factor that in as a cost basis, and it's put into everyone's base. So whether you walk in with a realtor or not, you are paying for a realtor and you're losing representation because you're working with the person who's representing the builder, period. It makes no sense to not use a realtor.
Tell us one more time, how do they preserve the right to use the realtor if they say so when they sign in?
You walk in or you call your realtor and you have to see if the realtor can go with you. If the realtor cannot go with you, then you say, listen, I'm planning on going into X, Y, and Z subdivisions today, or go check out this or that builder. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we can go on and register you online before you go there. Otherwise, when you walk in, you have to make it known, listen, I have a realtor and I intend to use my realtor as a buyer agent. If we were to build a house here, you will sign that agent in and you are set to go.
Well, then tell all of our listeners where they can contact you to do that for them.
You can find us online at experience-re.com. You can find me all over online, YouTube and Facebook. Put in my name, Kathy Helbig. I will be there. Or you can call us at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653.
Kathy Helbig, realtor with Experience Real Estate Partners, here every Thursday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.